Good morning, Big Brother fans. It is Wednesday, August 10th. It is one day before the next eviction, and honestly, Tuesday was a quiet day in the Big Brother house as far as gameplay goes. No big developments, no big changes. Daniel will be getting evicted tomorrow, although the vote may not be a unanimous 9-0. It may be a little bit split because the leftovers are trying to string along the non-leftovers to think that there's a chance that Daniel might stay. I'm trying to think of major events because I actually already recorded this once this morning, and I thought, I didn't really talk about anything. And so let me just try to give you a little bit of stuff here as I try take two. In the house, not a whole lot went on. That's the problem. The house guests they're locked down. Tomorrow's Head of Household. We don't know what kind of a competition it'll be. A lot of people are speculating that it'll be an endurance, but we do not know. And just because in the recent past, there has been an endurance at this point, because remember now Daniel should be the last non-jury member, so they, now it'll be a new phase with all jury members going, and so they're like, that means that it's going to be the wall. Well, I don't know if it will be. Heath Lumen, who was the main person in charge of competitions, or at least the executive director that was in charge of competitions, is no longer there, and so somebody else may have different ideas about when they do competitions if they have that kind of influence. I'm not even sure. So we'll have to see. It very well could be, but I'm just not going to be surprised if it isn't the wall. They may also be taking into account that they have a couple of different injuries there. Turner hurt himself in the Power Veto competition. Brittany hurt herself with her knee, and Jasmine still has her foot. So maybe they'll decide not to do that, or maybe they'll decide to put it off until people can compete. They may have already said it's already on the calendar. That's when we're doing it, no matter what condition people are in. Just not sure. Let me think. Other events that happened in the house yesterday, which is the stuff that I kind of skipped, and I thought, I should re-record this and talk about some of this stuff. So they just game-wise nothing. There's the non-head of households, and there's some. Let's put it. Okay, here we go. There's a little bit of tension within the leftover alliance, especially Michael, who I saw a video this morning of him kind of ranting a little bit to the feeds talkers, talking about how he feels that he and Monty are doing the heavy lifting, and feel that Joseph and Kyle are kind of coasting. I don't think he talked about Turner, but he feels like Kyle and Joseph are more worried about jury votes than they are actually doing any kind of hard work. I think Joseph is seen. I know there's been some sense, at least within some of the house guests, that he's playing this middle of the road where he's going back and forth. The non-leftover alliance thinks that he isn't with the leftover alliance, and that's to Joseph's advantage in some ways, because it's kind of keeping him safe. But remember, at some point he's going to have to show his true colors, and that may ruin some of his favorability with them, because they're still trusting him, whereas the other people they've already stopped trusting a long time ago. So I don't know if it's a big advantage for Joseph, but it is seen by some as like, hey dude, you're taking the safe route, and we're taking the harder route. That's if that's a level of tension, it's relatively minor. That's about what I got about that. There was a couple of moments yesterday worth just touching on briefly. Jasmine and Indy built a little. They hung a blanket over their heads and they were whispering something back and forth. They weren't whispering; they were just mouthing the words, and they got called out for it. We don't know what was being said. I did read something, which I'm hesitant to even go there, but I did see it in a couple of different places and a couple of different people saying it. Like I saw that Alyssa said that Jasmine has a crush on someone in the house, and then somebody else said that's what they were actually whispering about, that Indy and Jasmine were whispering about underneath the blanket. I guess Joseph has got several of the girls are really hung up on Joseph, like have a crush, like he's just all, they all think he's the bee's knees, as they say. But nothing's happening with any of this, so what does it really matter if they like the guy, if they think he's charming and attractive? So it is what it is. The other event that I witnessed last night that happened was I don't know if it'll make the show or not. It might. They decided to start hiding. The leftovers, I don't even remember who all was up in the head of household room, but most of the house guests were up in the head of household room. And I think Indy was the first one, was coming up. And they saw she was coming up to the room, and everybody but Turner jumped into the bathroom area or behind beds and stuff. So they all hid. And then Indy came in, and she just saw Turner sitting there, and she's like, well, where is everyone? He says, I don't know. They're all in the have-not room, which is down the hall a little bit. And she said, why would they be in there, kind of a thing? And he says, I don't know. I'm just here. And she got suspicious. And she says, no, look, everybody's shoes are there on the floor. And then she walked in, and she spotted someone behind the bed, and they all jumped out. And they were like, we're funny. And, of course, what happens right then is here comes Jasmine up the stairs. Oh, let's hide again. Let's do it again. And they all do it again. They all hide, except for they all grab their shoes. And so Jasmine comes in. Where is everybody? I don't know. I don't know where they are. And she doesn't believe him. And she's like, I think you're pulling my chain, you know. And she starts to walk in and look around. And Turner goes, well, why would you think that? Their shoes aren't here. I was like, why are you saying this, Turner? And she didn't believe him. She ended up seeing Michael's hair in the tub, because Michael was laying down in the tub, and she could see this tufts of hair peeked above. So she realized it, so she calls it out. Okay, so that one didn't work. Then along comes Taylor. They do it again. This time, Jasmine stays out and Turner goes and hides. Well, Taylor believes Jasmine. Jasmine's like, yeah, they're not here. They're down. I think they must be in the head of household room or something, or not the head of house, in the have not room. And Taylor goes down to the have not room. We can't see it. They chose instead to keep the cameras on Daniel and Terrence on the other feed. And I guess, she goes in and looks. They aren't there. Comes back and tells Jasmine they're not there. And she says, oh, you're teasing me. What are you talking about? And so Jasmine gets up and walks with her down and checks it out with her and realizes they're not there. And while she does that, everyone that was hiding in the bathroom and everywhere, they pour out and they sit around the little table in the head of household room, so that when Jasmine and Taylor come back, they open the door and, oh, look, they're all sitting there. Ha ha, very funny. And then finally, the only two people that were left were Terrence and Daniel, who'd been downstairs the whole time conspiring and whispering, to just the two of them, which shows you where they're at as far as the game goes. And they started they called Terrence up for the COVID tests, because they do COVID tests on Tuesday. And the house guests, I don't think, realized that that's why he was coming, but they saw him coming. They quickly hid, and then nothing happened. And then Daniel was next, and they tried to get Daniel to go into the room, and Daniel was just like, yeah, no, I know what you guys are doing, and I'm not falling for it. And so, that was the end of that game. That was the fun and excitement. And they brought out booze again, and they got alcohol, and I thought there was a potential for something to happen, but it doesn't appear that anything really did. I watched Taylor get a big glass of wine, and then watched her shotgun a beer. She and Taylor and Monty and Turner. And Turner's the one that had been, I remember last week at some point, I don't think it was just last night or night before last, but at some point Turner was like, we ought to shotgun beers, and nobody else was interested. But he managed to convince Taylor and Turner or Monty to do it last night. And so the three of them did the shotgunning a beer is where you, and have I ever shotgunned a beer? Maybe once, long time ago. You poke a hole in the bottom of a beer can, on the side, and then you pop the pop top at an angle, so that the alcohol doesn't go out, so the beer doesn't go out the angle. But then you tilt it up fast, and all the beer rushes out of the small hole in the bottom, and you're chugging a beer. It was very apparent that Turner is a professional at this, and Taylor and Monty are not, as Turner had it done in like 5 seconds, and Taylor and Monty struggled. And that was that. And that's where I said, I'm going to bed. thinking that something might happen because I'd watched Taylor drink a big glass of wine and chug a beer, but in the end it doesn't look like anything did happen. They just drank a lot and talked. So that's it, guys. I talked more. You got 10 minutes out of me. My last one was only 5 minutes because I just didn't think I had much to say, and I felt bad. I was like, I didn't tell you guys anything. So there's the news. That's what happened. I hope you guys have a good Wednesday. If something major crops up, maybe I'll throw on another one of these, but I anticipate very little happening between now and Thursday. It's just going to be an eviction. Daniel's going to go, and then we'll actually get on with the game and see if a non-leftover can win or if it's going to be another leftover winning and just another week and the first jury member. And who's it going to be? Just don't know yet. So that's what's up. I'm going to sign off, and we'll talk to you guys on Thursday. All right? See ya. Thanks for listening. Appreciate it. Thank you to my patrons. You guys are great. We'll talk to you Thursday. Bye-bye.